Aside from the major alien races of the grimdark galaxy, which are the Eldar, the Necrons, Orks, Tyranids, and the Tau, as well as the Votann if you could call them that, there are tons of other Xenos species that plague the stars. Most are confined to single worlds, or they have no threat nor of any sort of interest to the Imperium. There are also certain sanctioned Xenos like the Jokaero that can be tolerated for their assistance to humanity. But that's not the end. There are still pockets of space and even entire sectors that are ruled by certain alien species that are truly powerful in their own right. There are Xenos that have fought with humanity for thousands of years, and yet still have evaded extinction by the hands of the Space Marine. Here in this video we will take a look at 10 of these species, where they are found, and what they are. Let's get into it. We begin with the Crave. The Crave are a terrifying alien species often described as psychic humanoid bat monsters that prey on humanity's worlds. They are powerful mind-eaters that enslave populations by using psychic domination, feeding on their victims and growing stronger from it. They are especially feared in a region called the Ghoul Stars, where they have been a menace since before the Imperium existed. During the Age of Strife, many isolated human colonies were completely overrun by these creatures. When the Emperor launched the Great Crusade, Space Marines often had to fight the Crave or liberate worlds under their control. Some Crave were said to be as big or maybe even as physically strong as Primarchs, but that's still debatable. They are divided into powerful psychic leaders called root minds, which need a biological host to manifest, and they also command enslaved creatures and use terrifying warp-powered weapons. They travel in massive hive-like starships called the web ships or the nest webs, consuming entire planets over centuries before moving on to the next system. Their society is mysterious, but they might operate like a hive mind or a psychic collective. They have absolutely no interest in peace or diplomacy, and they see humans as food. The Crave originated in the Ghoul Stars, a mysterious and perilous region located on the northeastern edge of the galaxy. Once believed to have been nearly exterminated during the Great Crusade and subsequent campaigns, these psychic Xenos have shown alarming signs of resurgence in multiple sectors across the galaxy recently. A notable recent activity includes the massacre of Cormac in 718 of M39 within the Sakara sector of Segmentum Obscurus, and also the M-Raffle infestation around 900 of M39 in the Orpheus sector of Segmentum Tempestus, and the scoring of Lower Borea in the eastern marches of Segmentum Ultima. Although the Crave were once thought confined to the Ghoul Stars, their splinter webs have begun appearing far beyond their original territory, now threatening human worlds throughout the northeastern, southern, and eastern fringes of the galaxy. Now the second species here is the Rak'Gol. The Rak'Gol are savage cybernetic Xenos species encountered primarily in the Coriolis Expanse, operating out of the mysterious and radiation-cloaked Atlantic depths. Their exact origins remain unknown, and no living Rak'Gol has ever been captured. They are reptilian insectoid hybrids, towering over humans at roughly 2.6 to 3 meters tall, with a hardened white exoskeleton and 8 limbs that allow them to run, climb, and even charge while upside down. Most Rak'Gol enhance themselves by brutal cybernetics, often replacing limbs and organs with crude mechanical implants, particularly those who have survived multiple battles. These enhancements make them even more dangerous, both physically and in terms of resilience. Rak'Gol society, when we talk about their culture, is divided into a strict caste system. The most common are the Carvers and the Marauders, the frontline warriors, which are led by Clutch Masters, and above them are the Brute Masters and the Rare Abominations, which are enormous, modified monsters that seem to combine machine and flesh into a single terrifying entity. Although they possess spacefaring technology and void ships capable of long-range travel, the Rak'Gol tech is rudimentary and dangerous, powered by outdated nuclear fission reactors that leak deadly radiation everywhere. Their ships are a ramshackle and brutal design, designed for ramming, boarding, and unleashing swarms of killers onto enemy vessels or onto planetary outposts. Their weapons are no less terrifying, ranging from razor guns that fire barbed shots to howler rifles, rat beam cannons, and melee weapons like rat axes. To humanity, the Rak'Gol represent a lethal and unpredictable threat. They do not seek diplomacy or communication and regard humans as little more than prey. Their raids come without warning and they leave no survivors. Colonies attacked by them are often reduced to irradiated husks and with entire populations exterminated, which is precisely why we support xenocide here in this channel. Now the third species is the Hrud. The Hrud are mysterious. They are night-dwelling alien scavengers that lurk in the dark places of the galaxy. They are often described as disturbing, twisted creatures wrapped in rags, with rat-like features, with spindly limbs that bend unnaturally in every direction, and a body that seems to shimmer or blur before the eyes. Just being near one is dangerous, as they emit a strange feel that causes living things and even machines to age rapidly and decay, as if time itself breaks down around them or it spins faster. This effect, known as entropic radiation, is entirely a new form of psychic or warp-based energy. Because of this, Hrud infestations can rot cities, destroy crops, and weaken soldiers just by being nearby. The Imperium considers the Hrud a dangerous Xenos threat, not because they fight huge wars like the tyranids or orks, but because they infest and corrupt from within. They don't attack in massive battles but creep from the shadows, spreading decay and ruin, and killing humanity with time. They are found throughout the Imperium, though rarely in large numbers, and often described as infesting a place like vermin. When they die, their bodies dissolve rapidly into goo, making study of them nearly impossible. To make things even weirder, they're incredibly hard to see properly even in a brightly lit room. The human eye struggles to focus on them due to some kind of distortion they've generated. Despite their low tech being scavengers, the Hrud can be dangerous when they fight. They often use stolen Imperial technology, but they also have their own terrifying weapons like the Hrud Fusel, a rifle that draws raw energy from the warp and fires devastating blasts. Over the millennia, the Hrud have been involved in many infestations and migrations that devastate human worlds. Entire planets have been aged unnaturally, their crops have been turned to dust, and soldiers have withered into old men within days. One of the most infamous cases was the infestation of Ursula Spinal, where several regiments of the Imperial Guard were deployed to stop the Hrud, but many of them aged decades just by being exposed to the Xenos' presence. Now next we have the Slaugth. The Slaugth are one of the most revolting and sinister alien species in the galaxy. They are creatures so vile and dangerous that most people in the Imperium believe they're just scary myths told by voidfarers. But they're real, and the Inquisition knows it. In secret, they've been watching the Imperium for millennia, working from the shadows. The Slaugth don't come in massive invasions or planet-devouring swarms. Instead, they use stealth, manipulation, and ancient horrifying technology to infiltrate and corrupt worlds quietly, feeding off the dead and the desperate. Physically, they are nightmares made flesh. A Slaugth looks like a humanoid mass of writing fused together maggots, dripping with a necrotic slime. They can stretch and twist their bodies in unnatural ways and heal from injuries so terrifyingly fast. They don't age, they can't be poisoned, and they're immune to most diseases. They also give no psychic signatures at all. They are like blanks, making them difficult to detect through warp sensors or psychic powers. They're sometimes called the Maggot Men, the Carrion Masters, or the Dream Eaters. Despite their appearance, they are highly intelligent and possess powerful, grotesque biotech, fusing living flesh and machinery into horrifying tools and constructs. Their weapons and machines are so advanced and bizarre that untrained humans often mistake them for demonic warp sorcery. The Slaugth don't even care about territory or conquest. They infiltrate planets, especially those on the brink of chaos, and slowly destabilize them through manipulation, corruption, and hidden influence. The Imperium has had only a few direct run-ins with them, but when it has, the consequences have been catastrophic. Some believe the Slaugth had a hand in ancient disasters like the Rangdan genocides, which nearly halted the Great Crusade. They were labeled as the Xenos Horrificus Maxima, the highest threat classification for any Xenos, and as of the current era, they are very strong in their influence in the Calixis sector. The fifth species here is the Qual. The Qual are a highly intelligent insectoid Xenos species native to the world called Lockheed in the Segmentum Pacificus, very close by to Holy Terra. They are organized into a vast empire called the Swarmhood, ruled by a long-lived queen who produces thousands of eggs daily. The Qual evolved from primitive invertebrates and are divided into specialized breeds such as warrior drones and mind grubs, which are small maggot-like parasites capable of infesting and controlling even humans, particularly navigators, to potentially bypass their lack of warp travel. Biologically, the Qual are a fast-living but advanced species with multi-limb bodies, advanced sensor organs, and biomechanical implants. Their communication is chemical and olfactory based, which means smell, making them nearly impossible to communicate with, though they do possess a runic mathematical language. Culturally, they are industrious and ancestor worshipping, believing in a racial glory through expansion and conquest. Technologically, the Qual feel elegant but powerful chain ships, which are modular spacecraft that can split into segments to avoid capture. Although initially lacking warp travel, recent sightings suggest they have begun incorporating salvaged Imperial warp engines or warp drives into their ships, increasing their potential threat to the Imperium. Number 6. The Indaar. The Indaar are a highly advanced sentient insectoid alien species whose warriors are massive, even larger than a fully grown orks. Their first recorded contact with the Imperium occurred in the Ultima Segmentum, during a disastrous confrontation with a large explorator fleet. The Indaar attacked with such overwhelming force that their firepower far outmatched anything the Imperial Navy could field. Most of the Imperial ships were destroyed, and only a few managed to flee the massacre. A dead Indaran warrior, however, was retrieved, and its appearance stunned Imperial scholars as it closely resembled a colossal living version of the trilobite fossils once found on ancient Terra. But despite this chilling evidence, very little is known about the Indaar except that they field really advanced warships. Now next, the Barghesi. These are a terrifying valiant alien race that live in the Grendel stars on the far edge of the galaxy. They're so aggressive that even the Dark Eldar, the Drukhari, a race known for cruelty, raid their worlds to capture Barghesi as gladiators for their blood-soaked arenas. About 3,000 years ago, a Space Marine chapter called the Iron Lords managed to contain the Barghesi and kept them from falling into the hands of the Tyranids, who wanted to absorb their genetic strength. If the Tyranids ever succeeded in getting their claws on Barghesi DNA, it could spell disaster for the entire eastern fringe of the galaxy. Number 8. The Vartine. The Vartine Bloodflock are a spacefaring alien species that travel in massive hive ships called the world nests. They prey on human-inhabited worlds, and when a large number of their ships travel together, it is known as a Vartine Bloodflock. These massive swarms are extremely dangerous and can overrun entire regions of space unless their world nests are destroyed. In the final years of the 41st millennium, one such bloodflock invaded a region called the Phyllades Cluster, forcing the Imperium to launch a major military campaign to protect nearby worlds and destroy the world nest. Now going over to the Ghoul stars again, we have the Scythians. These are a mysterious and hostile Xenos species who are tall, thin humanoids with glassy reflective skin, long limbs and glowing paralytic eyes. Their faces resemble distorted parodies of human features, and many who've encountered them claim they aren't truly alive in any human sense. They wield crystal-based technology and possess the uncanny ability to transform into mobile crystalline forms, capable of slipping through enemies and killing with surgical precision. Their minds seem to reside in these mobile crystals, allowing them to survive in shattered or altered forms. Their homeworld, a gas giant called 983618 Grave Core, is a very hardy world and strangely resistant to exterminatus level destruction. Despite several attempts to exterminate them, especially during the Ghoul Stars crusade led by High Marshal Helbrecht of the Black Templars, the Scythians repeatedly vanished before the final blow could be struck. They have since reappeared in remote locations, including the 7th Blackstone Fortress and a demon world of Sublime. This elusive nature suggests they possess advanced stealth technology or phase-shifting technology, and they are more widespread than first thought. And number 10 here are the Arakan. The Arakan are a spider-like alien species that once fought a brutal war against the Tau Empire. This was when the Arakan violently rejected the offer of the greater good, which is kudos to these guys. This sparked the bloody and prolonged Veil War, a conflict fought in the region known as the Western Veil, which is probably in Ultima Segmentum. The Arakan lived in maze-like nest cities filled with traps that made them extremely difficult to assault. Their warriors are especially deadly, with the males using their bladed legs and bizarre alien martial arts to deadly effect. They travel through space in cocoon-shaped ships and field several terrifying subspecies. The war finally ended when a young Commander Farsight led a daring mission to assassinate the Arakan leadership, breaking the will of the swarm and driving them from the region. But that doesn't mean that that's the end of this Xenos species. Now those are just 10 of many other Xenos species that are a threat to humanity and that still exist as of the current era. If you like this video, then watch this other one too, the one in the end screens. So do hit the like button for support and smash the subscribe button to be a part of Legio Notebook. Till the next time, take care, boys.